Drink with James, episode 25. This is my drink. I am James. I'm alone. We're back in the conference room, OG status. I hope you guys have been enjoying having influencers on the show. We've been enjoying doing it, but every once in a while we're gonna come back and go old school. Next week we're gonna pick it up again and have a couple other guests on the show over the next few weeks, some that we're really excited about, so keep an eye out for that. As always, I think we didn't really mention this while we were shooting with other people, but questions, we need questions, so this is your chance. Dump those questions in if I haven't answered them. Dump them in if I have answered them, but you didn't think I did a good job. We'll see if I say the same answer twice, you never know, but please do ask questions, that's what drives the show. I'm happy to be alive and with you all. I completed what is called the Everest Challenge this weekend in LA, which is where you ride the elevation of Mount Everest in a single bike ride, which was a 26-hour bout of exercising that I got to do. If you follow me on Instagram, which I've asked you to do probably 25 times now, you would have seen me basically losing my mind. My mom actually texted my little brother who I was riding with and was like, James has lost the ability to speak. He's delirious. Make sure he's okay. But so that was a terrifying but fun experience. I encourage all of you to do stupid things in your life because those are generally the ones that you remember. You don't have to be prepared to do something. You just have to be dumb enough to try, generally. So, moving on to questions. First of all, if you're asking this question, you're thinking about the right thing, right? Like, you want to do a good job for the people who are advertising with you. Whether they're paying you or whether they're not paying you, doesn't matter. You really want to do a good job for the brand. I think some of the best influencers that I know that we work with, it's as simple as that, of just like thinking about the brand and being like, I want to do a really, really good job for this brand. And I want them to like be happy with the post, yes, but I also want it to do well. And I think it's part of that is understanding what is success for that brand. So I encourage you to ask them that question. Like, what's success? It's a simple question, but I don't think enough people ask. Like, are you trying to just gain exposure? Are you trying to get Instagram followers? Are you trying to get people to go to the website and see a piece of content that you created that's a larger piece of a campaign? Or are you trying to sell something? Those are maybe 4 options, I don't know, that have very different ways that you would create content to create success and conversion. So it's not always just a sale. So make sure you talk to the brands that you're working with and ask them what success is and try and set them up to do that effectively. Yeah, I think you have those conversations early on when you're, right after you close, right after they say, yeah, I want to move forward, you go, awesome, cool. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about success. And, I think a good example is like, if you're trying to get them Instagram followers, then you're trying to push them to their account and say that like, this is an account that you should be following for some reason, right? Like you're trying to get your followers to follow that account. It's very different than styling a piece of clothing in a certain way to try and sell it. Like I think you all know you're good at your jobs. You know how to push product. You know those posts that are going to get people to want to buy something. And then there's certain posts that, again, like you can talk more about following that account and keeping your eye on this new brand that you should definitely be following. So I think it can change a good amount of how you produce the content. So make sure you find out what they think success is. On the show, we talk, by we, I mean that's the royal we, meaning me, I, talk mostly to influencers, right? But it's funny, we in a lot of meetings with brands, and I find that my brand friends are watching these videos as well, and I hope they find them useful. They might just be learning all the tricks that I'm telling you guys to try and know when you're doing that, but it doesn't matter. We don't really speak to advertisers that much, and I think a lot of times the advice and the answers that the questions that we're answering here are useful for both brands and advertisers. But if I'm speaking more specifically to advertisers, the things that I think advertisers sometimes mess up, there's a few different things. One is giving influencers space. If you hire an influencer to do something for you, you basically, I like to think about it as like building a fence for them to play in. You don't want to put them into like a cage and be like, this is the way I want you to create content. This is the caption that I want you to use. This is exactly what I want it to look like and feel like. Because if you're getting that granular, then why did you hire the influencer? You're actually not getting your money's worth. So make sure you give them a fence and you let them be themselves and create content in the way they want. And certainly you want them to hit your key messages, and influencers, I'm speaking to you, like make sure that you find out what those key messages are, going back to the question we just answered, and that you're getting those key messages in, but make sure you're doing that in your voice. So give them a fence, let them play inside of that fence. That's one big thing. I think another is respecting what influencers do. I think there's nothing a brand can do to more quickly ruin a relationship with an influencer than to make them some offer that is completely ridiculous and undervalued, because it's a slap in the face. They don't walk into the store, pick up a $900 coat and say, I'll pay $1 for this because that's what I think it's worth. And in the same way, if you go to an influencer who has 100,000 followers and you want to send them a $15 bottle of moisturizer and you think that they should do 2 Instagrams for you to get that bottle of moisturizer, I'm sorry, you're fucking crazy. And it's an insult. It's an insult to influencers to do that. And so educating yourself, baseline amount before you go out there and talk to people is really important, because this is their livelihood and this is their jobs, and you really can ruin relationships pretty quickly, not only with that influencer. This is a small world. And so like if you're a brand that historically significantly underpays influencers or doesn't treat them well, that'll spread around the industry and nobody's going to want to work with you. And then there's kind of no amount of money that you can have to fix those relationships. So it's important to be fair and to respect influencers in the same way that we say to influencers like that they need to respect brands. And look, we have this whole show basically set up to help them work more efficiently with brands and understand how they should talk to you and how should they work with you and what they should do to help you reach your goals. And so the least you can do is learn a bit about the industry and try and treat them with respect. Number 3 is, if you're not a 4Card client, you should do that. I mean, that's fucking baseline. I think what 4Card does is provide a peace of mind to clients. We let you know that you're working with the right people, and that if you are making a monetary investment, that it's the right amount with the right person, and that we're going to maximize the money that you are spending. First of all, I have no budget is a lie. In the same way that the check is in the mail is a lie. Those things are generally never true. There is somebody at the organization who has money and that can make that decision. Especially in PR and marketing, there's always a little bit of wiggle room. Maybe not for a $200,000 campaign that includes a private jet to Paris, but for one-off sponsored posts or something small, there is budget there. If you know that there's budget and you talk to other influencers and they're getting paid, it's either that they don't want to work with you and they don't have the cojones to, as it were, to just tell you that they don't want to pay you and they don't want to work with you, in which case not worth your time, move on, or you're not talking to the right person. And sometimes it's simply that, you could be talking to the person that manages their Instagram account. Maybe you slid into the brand's DMs and you've been chatting with the social media manager and they've been reposting your photos and that's awesome, and then you have this idea and you send them an email and you say, hey, I'd love to do this, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't have a budget. Yeah, they don't have a budget, but the director of marketing has a budget, or the VP of PR has a budget. And sometimes you're just simply not talking to the right person. So if you get pushback and you know that there's money there, just go up the ladder. And not only up the ladder, but go to another department. If you're talking to PR, go to marketing. If you're talking to marketing, go to PR. Keep the nose to the ground, and you'll find the money eventually. Yeah. So look, that's it. Thank you for joining. Keep the questions coming. We're going to continue to have new people on the show. We're really excited about some of the people we have coming up. But I hope it's cool when it's just me. I hope I'm enough for you guys now. Now that Rachel's not here, or Heidi's not here, or JC, or anyone like that. It's just me. I hope I kept you entertained and you learned something. Cheers.